So you know when parents say, "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed." I am both mad and unfathomably disappointed. 400 pages and several angry fits of rage later, I finished Cursed by Thomas Wheeler. It was absolutely terrible. If Goodreads had a 0 out of 5 option, that would be its rating. But for now, it's at a 1 out of 5, solely because of the technicality of the website. Also, wouldn't it be so nice if Goodreads actually let us do half-star rating? This is petty and pointless. I read this book about a month ago after finishing Merlin for the first time, and I was still riding my Arthurian vibe. And let's just say that vibe was completely ruined by this awful, horrible, horrific mess of a book. At the time that I read the book, the Netflix series was not out, but it is now. I plan to watch it in its entirety and then do sort of a reflection video on whether the adaptation was better than the book or whether it just couldn't save this crap fest of a novel. But this video today is going to be solely talking about the book. The concept for this book is really fun and interesting. Taking Nimue, the Lady of the Lake from classical Arthurian legends, making her the heroine, chosen to reunite the Sword of Power with Merlin. Not this Merlin, though. A much worse Merlin, who's a sad drunk. We'll talk about him later. In a quest to save her people from extinction in a magical genocide. However, the book is completely bogged down by characters that are flatter than my chest, attempts to be clever, that fail so hard, and extremely poor execution overall. Now, a majority of the points I'm going to be making in this video are already discussed in my extremely thorough Goodreads review. In it, I go through the entire jacket synopsis of the book and point out every single lie it shamelessly spouts and advertises to the reader, and point out the major flaws in the novel. I will link it in the description below if you would like to check it out. I'm very happy with how it turned out, except for the fact that Goodreads has a character limit in reviews, and I could not talk about everything that I despise within the novel. Hence, this video was born. Ooh. Also, at the time of me recording this, I'm like the 10th most popular review for the book. Not to brag, but you should totally check it out. This is your spoiler warning, but I wouldn't go leave this video to read the book because it's a complete waste of your time. Again, anything you found cool advertised in that jacket synopsis that you probably read before you borrowed or purchased the novel is a lie. It's all a lie. Read my review to see what's a lie. Haha, shameless review plug, and I've barely made it 2 sentences past the previous one. Or stay here for an overview of everything that is wrong with this book. Again, I will be spoiling the entire book, but I don't think it's worth your time, so let's just hop straight into it. Alrighty, in our first section we're going to be talking about failed attempts to be clever. So you know how in The Rise of Skywalker they have that stupid scene where Chewbacca gets a medal after literal decades of not receiving one? This is going somewhere, I promise. They include that mostly because, oh my god, the audience is gonna recognize that thing from a previous thing of the thing that we made. Oh, we are so smart. Well, this book does a lot of that. It feels so shoved down your throat, it's distracting. And it's mostly done with character names. There is one instance in the book where they did the name thing and I thought it was clever, mostly because it was subtle and didn't have any deeper meaning. So Gawain, in this book, is a druid who leaves Nimue's village to kind of go strike it out on his own. After he goes rogue, his new alias is the Green Knight, and I'm pretty sure this is a reference to Gawain's most famous tale, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. You see? That's clever! It's subtle, it doesn't diminish the legacy of the story or the characters. It's a bit of stupid fan service for fans of Arthurian legends that doesn't end up impacting the larger plot of the story, but brings excitement to the readers. In my opinion, that's like the best kind of fan service you can have, where it's not shoved down your throat. every sequel movie in Star Wars. Also, that's literally one of the only things I enjoyed in the book, and it is such a microscopic detail, and that should really put into perspective how bad it was and how much I did not like it. I liked the Gawain thing, and I liked the fact that the book started in medias res, which, for those of you who didn't pass freshman English, means in the middle of things. It does this in order to lull the reader into sort of a false sense of excitement before not following up on anything it promises. Now, I've already said that I thought the Gawain thing was clever. You know what isn't clever? Taking names and then plopping them onto characters that have no attributes that match the original ones. paladins. That, and just doing it for the sake of it, because they do that a lot. My two examples for this are Squirrel and the Weeping Monk. So the Weeping Monk works with Father Cardin and the Red Paladins. Basically, they're the evil people who want to kill all the magic folk. And you want to know what his real name is? It's Lancelot. They turned Lancelot into this sad emo boy who has the gall to reveal his identity in the most cliche and tropey way possible. He's literally like,
"Many years ago, I was once known by the name of Lancelot."
And the author expects the reader to be like, oh my god, that's a name I recognize, that's a name that I know, this book is so smart, this writing is so clever. It's really not. His identity reveal acts like a huge part of the plot, but it literally serves no purpose. It does nothing to enhance the story or the character and makes no sense. They do the same thing with about 8 pages left in the book to a character named Squirrel. He's this annoying little druid boy character who's kind of just there the whole time. He doesn't really do anything. This majorly unimportant character gets an identity reveal on the same level as Lancelot for literally no reason. It baffles me. Why is this in the book? He literally just says, my name's Percy. It's short for my real name, Percival. Like, bro, then where the hell did the name Squirrel come from? You obviously aren't a squirrel. You do not have squirrel features. Why is your name Squirrel? Are you one of those weird otherkin people? Are you a furry? What the frickety frack? Huh? I think if he'd been named Percival or Percy from the beginning, I wouldn't be nearly as pissed. But they treat these name reveals like they're some sort of, like, big plot revelation. But they're not. They do nothing. They serve no purpose. And they treat these name identities as if they're, like, a big part of the characters. But they're not. The name means nothing. Like, the difference between Percy and Lancelot's whole name reveal thing and Gawain's name reveal is that Gawain was named Gawain from the beginning of the book. They didn't try to pull this ooh kind of thing where it's like, oh, what a big part of his character. It's not the same, you know? Percy and Lancelot's name reveals serve as nothing but fodder from the author to try and trick the reader into thinking their writing is clever and smart. It craps all over the legacy of these characters and does absolutely nothing to better the story or these paper-thin excuses for characters. Speaking of characters, Section 2. The characters are literal cardboard. The author attempted to make up for his pathetically flat characters by adding these stupid name and identity reveals. They do not help. Most of the named side characters have zero discernible personality traits other than they're good or they're brave. Boring vague shit like that. And don't even get me started on the unnamed extras. The Fae, who are the magic people that Nimue is trying to save by reuniting the sword with Merlin, are a faceless crowd of characters that we don't ever end up caring about and whose opinions and thoughts hold less weight than a paperclip. Those views and opinions also shift on the dime to try and help convey whatever mood or tone the author's going for and absolutely fail at it. It's so stupid. They are a plot convenience. The fact that they are a plot convenience is so apparent and distracting. And since we don't care about these characters or feel like their thoughts and opinions have any sort of weight, we don't care about Nimue's whole motivation or feel like the situation has any sense of urgency. Therefore, you lose the reader's engagement. And once you've lost the reader's engagement, your book is just... Something else that distracted me the entire time while reading this book is how they refer to Arthur's half-sister as Morgan and not Morgana. And I know that the original character's name is Morgan Le Fay, and like it varies on your region or whatever, but Morgana just rolls off the tongue, and like, you know, when you're reading and it's kind of like an inner monologue, it just rolls off the brain tongue. It just flows so much nicer when you're reading. I feel so stupidly petty like complaining about this, but it bothered me so much while reading the book, and she's there for a decent amount of time, so it doesn't go away. I just had to include it, okay? I do think they changed this in the show though, because I was scrolling through the episode descriptions just to get a feel for the pacing of the show, and one of the episode descriptions has the name Morgana in it, so I think they changed it. Not sure though. because I haven't watched the show yet. I will, I promise. And while we're at it, let's talk about Arthur, shall we? The synopsis makes us believe that Arthur's gonna be like a huge, or at least a sizable chunk of this story, like his involvement. He isn't. He is a shoddily set up love interest for Nimue who gets jealous at the sight of Nimue and Gawain interacting, despite the two being clearly stated as friends. He barely has anything to do in the plot. He does some stuff at the beginning, and then he kind of just fades into obscurity. He feels pitiful, unlikable, and like a huge man baby. He has less stake in this plot than a filet mignon at Outback. Just kidding. I actually really like Outback Steakhouse a lot. I just wanted to have a steak-related joke in my video. Uther Pendragon, who is typically Arthur's father, is a medieval frat boy who has this hovering mother character for like 80% of the book, just following him around. He's a whiny asshole the entire book who just complains about his kingdom being bad or not the way he wanted and all of the problems while doing nothing to fix anything. The mother character who follows Uther around for a good chunk of the book is nothing but stupid and cryptic. And then she dies! She just drops dead out of nowhere. I personally had canon that she died because she could not take any more of this story's bullshit. And Uther isn't even sad! He's literally just like,
Screw you! I'm a big boy! I can run my own kingdom, Mom! Ugh.
He's terrible and stupid and does nothing but waste pages in this story. Merlin, the great wizard himself, again, not this Merlin. This show's actually good, and you should all watch it. My Merlin video is coming soon. Merlin is Uther's magical advisor, but little does anyone know, he's lost his magic and become a sad drunk akin to that of Frank Gallagher in Shameless. Merlin was one of the only characters that I was kind of intrigued by throughout the story because they kept this whole theme going with him, but his whole arc is so shoddily put together. It's so bad. He's supposed to learn that running away from his family and his people and all of his responsibilities isn't the way to go, and that abandoning all of those things wasn't right, and that the universe is punishing him for kind of just giving up on everything. I thought he'd have some sort of like epiphany or emotional revelation and then get his powers back. But no! He kind of just gets them back and then steals Nimue's thunder at the climax of the book like an asshole. He doesn't earn it, and he doesn't learn anything about his responsibility to others and all the people he abandoned. And it is so unsatisfying to read because all of the parts of the book that have Merlin in them are setting him up for this arc, and they never go through on it. And then at the end they rush over everything and trip on their way down the stairs. By the way, funny stupid detail, in this book Nimue's Merlin's daughter, and Merlin literally impregnates Nimue's mom, and then she kicks him out of the village for staring at a tree in an ancient temple for too long. Literally, what the hell is this book? And finally, the woman herself, Nimue. Oh dear. Nimue is the character I feel suffers the most from the cookie cutter character syndrome. That was a really fun alliteration. And I'm gonna take this whole cookie metaphor thing and run with it. Nimue is a shortbread cookie dressed up with the frosting of an unexplained prophecy, and then, topped with a little magic sword. But beneath it all, she's completely flat and boring. Kinda like me. The whole flat character thing is completely exacerbated by the fact that she is the protagonist of the book, and we as readers expect her to develop as a character throughout the story. Not saying that all books have to have dynamic characters, that's not the case at all, but we want her to gain control over her powers. We want her to learn how to fulfill her destiny as the Fae Queen. Mostly we want her to learn how to control her magic, but her magic is never explained, and the dark part of her destiny isn't either. It's all glossed over and then tossed in the bin of plot holes once the first 100 pages of the book are over. And then, as I said before, she is Merlin's daughter. This is also treated like some sort of huge reveal, and maybe in another book it would have been a huge reveal, but here it does nothing. Neither Nimue nor Merlin are changed in any significant way by this revelation. They could have cut it entirely and the story would have been the exact same, which is bad. It's stupid. It's really stupid. I know I'm saying stupid a lot, but it really is stupid. She also doesn't end up earning her title as Fae Queen, and it sucks because all of the characters, those unnamed background guys that I discussed before, they fall at her feet ready to praise her, ready to worship as soon as she accepts this sort of made-up title. Despite the fact that in the beginning, everyone in her village, also Fae, hated her because she was cursed with the dark magic. She she was cursed with the dark magic. We're not gonna explain how the magic works, or why it's bad, or why she can't control it, or why it's evil, but it's bad, it's bad. Nimue is such a Mary Sue, and I hate it when people throw around the term Mary Sue, but she is such a Mary Sue. You know what? I don't have enough energy to keep wasting on her. She sucks. This brings us to Section 3, all the other crap. There are so many small bits and details in this book that just suck. And I know I've been saying suck and stupid and pointless a lot in this video, but the whole book sucks, is stupid, and is pointless. For example, we have a poorly established magic system that makes no sense and feels like it has no point being in the story. The hidden, who are the kind of like little dudes that are hidden, obviously, they talk to Nimue and they kind of like enhance her magic or whatever. Not 100% sure because the book never bothers to tell me. They're referenced a bunch in the beginning of the book, and then they are never brought up again. Based on what it was going for, and ended up failing at, Nimue's magic and her connection to the hidden should have been a huge part of the story. It should have been developed more thoroughly, but it just wasn't. It just wasn't. It's a hollowed promise, like everything in this book. Compare this magic system to something like Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. At first, I didn't understand the magic system at all. I was like, what's happening? Where are my bullshit Harry Potter words? I need magic spell words. But once it was explained, it was so easy to understand, and it was fun. It had a fun premise, and it was established, and it developed throughout the story. For those of you who have read the book, my favorite spell is, these are not the droids you are looking for. So props to Rainbow Rowell for introducing a good, unique magic system that was easy to understand once it was explained in the story. But besides the whole poor execution, the whole story just feels so generic. And that is so stupid because this is honestly a really unique and interesting idea for a book like this. Like, I'm all for stories that are like, haha, it's the classic tale, but we're gonna flip it around. Like, have you guys read Neverland Chronicles by Chanda Han? That stuff's great. Or like Lunar Chronicles. Ooh! But because the story is so poorly executed and the characters are nothing but ambiguous and flat tropes, there is nothing of substance to grab onto in this book. The last thing I'd like to touch upon is the art. This book was illustrated by Frank Miller, and obviously art is subjective. What you think makes a good art piece is completely different from someone else, and that is completely okay. Just like in that episode of The Twilight Zone, you know? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But oh my god, the art in this book is so ugly! Like, maybe it's just me, but I do not think that the style meshes well with the story. Or maybe it does, and I'm just stupid. It's extremely stylized. I just felt like it was very distracting, and it did nothing but further break my immersion and frustrate me. It conflicted with the images of the characters I already had in my head, and it ruined the flow of the story even more than the choppy pacing and constant jumping of points of view. I will say, however, that I really adore the cover of this book. It's eye-catching, it's simple, and it's really pleasing to look at. Like, the corally pink color with just the black, it looks so good. But since we can have nice things, the image is instantly ruined by the Netflix promotional sticker. Like, yes, you can take off the sticker if you own the book, but I borrowed it from the library. Like, I obviously can't reach under the protective plastic cover and peel off the sticker, so every time I went to pick up this book to read it, I was just met with the soon-to-be a Netflix original series sticker on the front, completely ruining the vibe of the art. Why is this book so disappointing? This book had like 3 things that I actually genuinely enjoyed, and it ruined 2 of them, in medias res and the cover. So, one thing. I enjoyed one thing in this book. Yay! Bravo, Cursed! Yay! Ooh, man! What a train wreck. It could have been great, and that's what upsets me so much about this book. The story had so much potential, but it never went through with anything that it promised or brought up. It gave us uninteresting characters and ended in a fat, unsatisfying splat. Wow, that rhymed. This book sucked. It sucked so bad. We have a guest. Koopy. He's a good boy. Koopy didn't like the book either, did he? Did you like the book? Did you like the book, Cooper? Oh yes, that's right. You're a dog. You can't read because you're a dog. He doesn't betray me by having differing opinions about novels because he's a dog. All right, buddy, you're gonna get down now, okay? I hope you enjoyed Cooper's intermission. He's my furry friend, and I love him so much. Yes, he's still here. Anyway, you are obviously entitled to feel any way you wish about the book, because people are allowed to enjoy things, and I am in no way trying to take that away from you. Like what you like, please. More power to ya. But that does bring us to the end of today's video. My question for you all is, have you read Cursed? And if so, did you like it, or did you hate it like me? Again, I'd really appreciate it if you guys checked out my Goodreads review. I will link it down below, and I plan to finish the Netflix series as soon as possible so I can get a comparison of the two. That video is upon the horizons. If you enjoyed the video, please do consider dropping a like and subscribing, or don't. Live your best life, like my dog. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Koopy's an absolute savage.